What's the story? Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk. Just so you know, we're sponsored by MMAmix.com for all your mixed martial arts news, UFC, Bellator, wherever else you need. Also, we're not coming from Whiskey Fair today, unfortunately. We're coming from Robert's Maz sitting room in Paris. Unfortunately, Noel couldn't make it tonight. He spent some quality time with the family, so enjoy to all the O'Keefes. Dan as well, I believe he has a busy day ahead of him tomorrow. We're recording this as of 8 minutes past 1 in the morning.
Because we have no lives.
Yeah, exactly. You know, work and shit was in the way, so shit happens. But welcome along. This is episode 26, I believe. 27? 27. Holy shit, 27 episodes. As usual, the rundown for tonight. You have the Obviously Fight Talk, Quickfire news. As always. And then you have the UFC sale, a catalyst for Mixed Martial Arts Fighters Union.
Maybe.
Ooh. The weekly list, top 5 UFC title fight upsets. Bellator 158 quick recap. Brock Lesnar failed out of competition drug test.
We'll talk a bit about that.
Yeah, of course. And UFC on Fox 92 breakdown as per usual. I'm a beast, that's all I can say. But so Robert's going to go ahead and he's going to whack out the quickfire news.
So we're going to do it as usual. We're going to go 2 minutes on this. So we'll get the quickfire out first once Carl stops fucking around.
Yeah.
And then we'll add 2 minutes to the clock and we'll talk about it. So the first one, Evangelista Cyborg Santos lost to Michael Venom Page in a feature welterweight bout last night at Bellator 158. The fight ended flying knee by Page causes serious fraction in Cyborg's head, his forehead. And you can see the graphic images on Cyborg Santos, his ex-wife Cyborg's Instagram. GoFundMe has been put up.
Or our Facebook page.
But we'll send them there to go to the GoFundMe.
Fuck them.
But 2 minutes on the clock.
There we go. Holy fucking shit, that was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty. MVP with a serious knockout again. And this time in England. He is English, I believe.
Yeah.
So, what a statement to do that in the UK. That's fucking amazing. Especially on Bellator stage. That was probably the most publicised show in the UK to date. Most likely, let's be honest.
Most publicised show. Their first show in the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's their second show in Europe.
Yeah.
There was obviously people. We'll talk a bit about Bellator later. A few of the fights that stood out. But was that the worst injury in MMA?
I think so. So. You could actually see his eyes. He looked like a chihuahua. His eyes were bulging out of his head.
And you seen the skull photo?
The skull? That actually looked like. Did you see the new Mortal Kombat game? That's what that looked like.
Yeah.
A fucking 3D scan of what his fucking head looks like.
Hopefully he's okay because
that's vicious.
It looked really, really bad. Imagine what that felt like.
How do you repair that?
I don't know.
That's shocking.
That's why I'm not a surgeon.
Yeah.
But we won't go too much into the fight. Just the injury itself probably is the worst injury in MMA. The previous worst injury people would say would be some of the leg breaks that has happened.
Yeah.
Apart from the long term injuries, but injuries actually happen in the cage.
Yeah.
Probably that the leg break by Anderson Silva.
Any of those really. Yeah.
Tim Sylvia's arm break.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually seen an injury that horrific.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got to see the scan as well, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
That was vicious, absolutely vicious. Did you see Cyborg Santos go down after the knockout? He was in agony.
Yeah, that. At first I was like, oh shit, he's knocked out, but he wasn't knocked out. He was just
in agony.
It
was pure pain.
His face got his skull got caved in.
Yeah,
literally. There we go. So
nice.
Next one. Already there. The return of Ronda Rousey is imminent, maybe. Speaking at a Q&A session, Ronda Rousey stated that she wants to win her belt back, citing her mother's coach's word, winning is a bitch, but revenge is a motherfucker. Spilling it everywhere.
Anne's gonna kill me.
I'll go first on this one. We shall
do the clock, yo.
Do the clock. Let's do the clock first.
Get your shit together.
There we go. So we're all looking forward to the return of Ronda Rousey. I don't think anyone's going to say I don't want her to come back.
I don't want her to come back.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. But apart from all that, we assume she's going to come back. We don't know when. She doesn't look like she's in, I suppose, fight shape. Not saying anything about her physique or anything.
She looks curvy as fuck. She doesn't look like a fighter. She looks like a woman.
Yeah, she doesn't look in fight shape. So I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of time for her to get back into shape for a fight. But she seems to be mentally there now. At first, it looked like she was like, I want to take a step back. I'm going to want to get away from it. But it seems like she's mentally there. She really wants to get back. She's getting that determination back to get in there.
Yeah.
And most of the girls there, I'd still fancy her against, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. We don't know. Who did she make that quote to? Do you know? I don't know.
That quote was her mother's coach's daughter. She said that her mother said it to her.
So and we don't know who was she speaking to.
It was a Q&A.
With
I'm not sure.
Mixed martial arts journalists?
I don't think so.
Because if the only thing I will say about Ronda is that she really has distanced herself from the mixed martial arts world. She hasn't really said much to any of the MMA journalists. So
she said away.
So the fact that that's not to an MMA journalist, I'm kind of going, well, that's just stupid pop media speculation. So I don't pay attention to it. If it had been to a legit MMA journalist, then I would have gone, actually, she's back speaking to mixed martial arts journalists. She's dipping her toes back into the world. So this really, to me, I think Ronda's saying shit just to keep her options open. I don't think she'll be back anytime soon. I think that's all there is she's just like leaving a toe in there so people can go, is she, isn't she, isn't she? I think that's all there is.
I don't know, like she seems to want to come back. I tend to kind of believe it, but I wouldn't be too surprised if she doesn't come back.
I talk up all the time, sorry.
We go to the next one, and I'll get this ready before I read it out. The UFC's television rights deal with BT Sports end at the end of July, and UFC Vice President and General Manager for Europe, Middle East and Africa, James Elliott, says they're close to announcing the next TV partnership for the UK. So, your thoughts on that one, Mr. Doran?
It's looking like they're possibly going to switch from BT. If he's saying something like that, they're saying their next TV partnership, looking into it. Alright, so maybe they're moving away from BT.
Yeah, like he did kind of come out and say as well, they had a great partnership, or they have a great partnership with BT, but then the sentiment seemed like a move.
Yeah. Who? Sky?
I don't know. Do you think Sky would take them? They seem to be wanting the Sky move.
Sky, I've noticed on Facebook, Sky Sports have been covering mixed martial arts a lot more on Facebook.
Yeah, they have been,
really, when it just comes to... I've noticed they report a lot on Conor.
Yeah.
But then UFC 200, they released a few articles on that as well. So, yeah, maybe it is Sky. Maybe that's what they're doing, you know what I mean? And that they're just saying, right, we're just going to report it for now, to let them know we're interested. Like, maybe that's all that is.
Yeah, Sky would be a big one because it's clearly the biggest, you wouldn't even say network, it's TV station over here, or network of stations. For any people who aren't from the UK or Ireland, it's by far the biggest one. It's not free TV. You do have to get a subscription for it. Similar to like your HBOs or whatever. But it'd be a huge deal. That's where all the Premier League games are. That's not all of them, but the majority of them would be. Although you would get a lot on BT Sports as well.
You would. BT is their biggest rival. But Sky Sports trumped them.
It's still not close. So if the UFC do get there and they're up there with the Premier League games, and
it's where all the boxing shown.
The boxing is shown, Sky
even
Sports.
Sky Box Office, that's
you
all.
You get very little on Sky Box Office now, don't you?
I think they're moving away from the pay-per-view format.
In the UK,
in the UK.
Yeah, I think they've gone away from that, but it's hard to say what they'll do. Maybe they'll re-sign with BT, they'll get a different deal.
Maybe this is them like saying we're going for a different deal, give us more money.
They're going to negotiate anyway.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly ending it there. If you want to scroll down there, Mr. Carl. There you go.
Yeah.
Next one. Fedor Emelianenko. We don't have Noel here to say his name.
Fedor!
His win over... That was decent, yeah. His win over Fabio Maldonado at EFN 50 has been overturned to a draw by the World Mixed Martial Arts Association. The organisation said that Maldonado's concerns of a conflict of interest between Fedor and the Russian MMA Union, an organisation which Fedor is the president of, is questionable, and the questionable scoring was enough to overturn the result. So, thanks for reminding me again. I'm a typical man. I can't do two things at once. Go ahead.
Corruption. That is all.
That is all.
Nah. Yeah. Yeah. Clearly. Had to be overturned. Fedor can't be the head of the mixed martial arts organization in Russia and fucking fight for a promotion where, you know, they're running. You can't do that. You know, this is why they brought the Ali Act into boxing. And to be fair, these new fucking, I don't know, the new owners of the UFC, they represent some fighters. And in my opinion, they shouldn't represent them. You know what I mean? No. So, yeah, you can't do that. Rightfully so, it should have been overturned. And it doesn't help that it was a fucking contentious decision as well. Many people scored that first round to 10-8, including myself. So, yeah, it should have been a draw.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lucky it wasn't a no contest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I didn't think it was going to happen because I didn't know who was going to be involved. I thought he was going to go straight to the Russian Association, who just weren't going to change it. Just wasn't going to happen. And I think I read as well that they aren't going to change it. They're not recognising the change. Of
course, I know.
For obvious reasons. Yeah. But yeah, there was clearly something going on in that fight. Clearly. Like, it just, the vibes you got from it. There was clearly something, just something going on.
It was dark. It was dark. It was... Yeah. Could you imagine what a mixed martial arts fight would look like with a lot of Russian gangsters mixed in? There you go. That's what it looks like.
Fedor's last fight.
There you go.
Yeah, I suppose not too much else to say about it. Like, it got changed by them. We'll see what happens. I know that the report that came out, they said it wasn't, you know, straightforward. Are just going to change it. There was some contention by Fedor's end and the Russian Association end. So there'll probably be a couple of updates on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be different if it was a huge, high stakes fight. It's not really. It's you know, it's Fedor, the end of his career. Maldonado's always been somewhat of a journeyman, I think you could say.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge important decision, but it's still, you know, we're at 2016. We finished there. Next one.
You got fucked by the buzzer.
I got fucked by the buzzer. Next one. Let's turn back the clock. Croatian kickboxing legend Mirko Krokop Filipovic and Brazilian legend Vanderlei Silva are among the confirmed participants for the upcoming Rise and Fighting Federation Openweight Grand Prix on September 25th in Tokyo.
It's Openweight.
Openweight.
I didn't know it was like
Openweight.
This is back to Pride, yeah. Oh, they're all going to be on steroids. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I actually can't wait.
Yeah?
Yeah, just fucking juice them up to the gills.
Yeah.
Be like a bunch of fucking Banes fighting in the ring. Can't wait.
I don't know. It's
dirty and seedy.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it's dirty and seedy, but I love it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you were merely born into the UFC. Yeah. I was molded by pride.
Yeah.
I was very fucking nerdy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's... Like, you look at it and you say, oh, that's going to be amazing in ways. And then other ways you're like, ugh, it's kind of dirty.
It's filthy, that juice to the gills, but...
Yeah, most, allegedly.
Yeah.
I won't say they are.
Like, it's a terrible fucking double standard because
I know.
Brock Lesnar, we're pissed about that, but... Like this, it's not the UFC. They're all a bunch of fighters well past that prime. If they want to continue fighting, they probably should be on steroids. You know what I mean? To be fair, if they want to continue fighting, but probably not like fucking walking around like a bunch of bleeding juiced up hulks. You know what I mean? But it'll be fun anyway.
It will be fun. Rising is a bit of a freak show, I think you'd have to say.
Yeah,
they've had plenty of freak shows. Like Year One is back. Danny, I can't remember her name now. The Brazilian Gabrielle. Can't remember her name. Really big girl, like really muscular and stuff.
Oh yeah,
she has like zero striking.
Yeah,
but she is like she is decorated.
Yeah, but she has like a serious case of man jaw, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's like proper huge. Like, like there's a picture of her and Krokop together, and like Krokop's tiny, like
really
tiny, and he's a heavyweight.
Yeah, well, Krokop's been spending all his time playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
He's a man looking for your heart.
Yeah, Krokop's cool.
That's the end of the Quickfire news.
Yeah,
got through that pretty well.
Jesus,
so
that was very quick.
Yeah, it was very quick.
Quickfire news living up to its name.
Yeah, we're doing it right here. So next up, we're gonna go to our weekly list that we missed last week. So we're gonna just substitute last week's list in and put it into this week.
So this is the bi-weekly list now.
The bi-weekly list, not when it's weekly.
Yeah. We're so shit.
Yeah, we're fucking terrible. So this list is the top 5 UFC title fight upsets, and this is a list compiled by. Initially, Noel gave this list. We rearranged it to what our liking.
Yeah.
Because Noel actually didn't reply the last message I sent him, I don't think.
Yeah.
That could be a lie.
Maybe
but anyway,
he did and we just ignored him.
Noel can give us thoughts on this next week maybe or something. But this is our list. Top 5 UFC title fight upsets. I'll let you go at number 5.
I was going to go number 1, but whatever. Yeah, we should go from down.
Yeah, we should.
Up, I suppose. Number 5, most recent. It is most recent. I had to double take. Michael Bisping over Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people picked against Bisping in this fight, us including.
Yeah.
Bisping wasn't really given a chance. Some
Sure
people said
fight.
Yeah, some people said puncher's chance, which you said on Reddit. It's there. Robert Palin, you can check out his history. I believe he did tell somebody that was he did have a puncher's chance
Because everybody does in MMA.
Yeah, exactly. But that's that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was it was a big upset. Just Bisping, he is a dangerous fighter in his own right. You know what I mean? So for Rockhold to come in and basically not put any stock in Bisping at all, just because he beat him once. Yeah, to completely disregard him, that was so
that way as well,
silly.
Didn't it?
Yeah, it was so silly. He was a cocky prick, let's be honest. And then he gets beat, and then he turns into the biggest bitch in the world. Like, I lost a lot of respect for Luke Rockhold.
Always welcome on the show, Luke Rockhold.
No, he's not. Fuck him. Fuck him. He's a handsome man, but fuck him. Fuck him right in his ass. I know a man that was raped when he was 14. I only met him today. Nice bloke, by the way. Got a finger up the bum. But yeah, Luke Rockhold's a dick. I'm glad he lost.
Fair enough. Take this away now. Yeah, like I think number 5. Again, it's it's all opinion here, but Michael Bisping didn't have much of a chance. Huge underdog. Luke Rockhold already had a fairly easy win over Michael Bisping. Coming on like extreme short notice.
Yeah.
Not too many gave him a chance. Even Dan Hardy, we had Dan Hardy on the show. He said that Bisping could win it, but it's going to be very difficult. Yeah. So I think that everything you said mixed with the odds were pretty stacked against them. Coming short notice, I think that deserves to be number 5. I'll go with the next one. Number 4, TJ Dillashaw over Henan Barrow. Number 1. Yeah. We kind of gave TJ a shot when he was going in.
Yeah.
We kind of were fans of TJ.
Yeah, we've been big fans of TJ for a long time.
Exactly.
But it was the way that he came out and won. That was the shocking part.
Exactly. But even then, at the time, we were like, geez, it might be a bit too much, a bit too early for a TJ Dillashaw to get a title shot.
Like, we thought that TJ... Excuse me. We thought that... Yeah, sorry, it's that fucking thing.
It's like 2 minutes of you has just been like beepable,
just disgusting pig. TJ came into that fight like predominantly as a wrestler, like let's be honest here, and like we were like, you'll beat Henan Barrow, but we say you can beat him, but he has to get it to the ground, like he has to use superior wrestling. That's what me and you thought. I'm pretty sure that's what nearly everybody else thought. You know what I mean? Then TJ comes in and just absolutely lights him up on the feet. Yeah. And then not only does he light him up, he didn't get the decision. He fucking knocked him out. Yeah. I believe it was the 5th round he knocked him out.
Yeah, it was late. He put a beating on him and then finished him off.
Yeah, so accumulation of damages now, likes to say, and then just laid and knocked him silly. So that was a huge upset, like absolutely huge. Like people didn't give TJ a shot in that fight. No,
and the odds said it as well. Yeah, the odds were fucking huge.
Yeah,
and you have to remember as well, this isn't the Henan Barrow of now. This is the Henan Barrow of, I think it was 2014, as far as I remember.
Thereabouts.
Just trying to think off the top of my head, but this was like one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world at the time.
Yeah,
Henan considered 1 or 2.
Like it's mad because Henan Barrow came in and he won the vacant bantamweight title
when Dominic was out.
When Dominic was out, and like it was looking like Henan was never gonna lose that title, and people are going, "Oh shit! Hopefully Dominic comes back soon. We want to see that fight." Yeah. Like, now if you'd say, "I want to see Dominic Cruz versus Henan Barrow," you go, "The fuck are you on?"
Exactly. Yeah.
But back then, that was the fight. Like that was what people wanted to see.
Yeah. And then we got to the next one. You can read that one out.
Next one, number 3, Holly Holm over Ronda Rousey. Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Like, my jaw was on the floor when I seen this happen. Ronda Rousey was, I think everybody said it, like, she was unbeatable. Absolutely unbeatable. On fire. fucking, she had been the only women's bantamweight champion in UFC history. Like, she had the title when she came in, and she held on to it for how many fights? Not only did she win her fights, she looked amazing doing it. Then to come in against Holly Holm, and Holly made her look like an amateur.
Yeah.
A rank amateur on the feet.
Yeah. And this was when kind of Ronda Rousey was, I think, being overestimated on the feet in ways.
For sure.
Especially by like the likes of Joe Rogan, who started saying, "Oh, your boxing looks phenomenal." And it did. It looked good against not great strikers, but she looked good. And then Holly Holm just made her look silly.
Yeah.
And I think as well, just like everything on this list, like we're never going to say, "Oh, well, they could never win this fight." You know what I mean? It's not like that. I never think about that with MMA.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there's a chance there for someone to win.
I think
Holly
like
Holm,
I think like that.
Yeah, that's because you have a good record on your picks.
This is true.
And
beers.
But with that fight, I knew Holly Holm had the talent and the ability to do it, but it was more of how she done it.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you said against the TJ and Henan Burrell one. Like, she went in there and she made her just look bad, look very, very poor.
Yeah.
Even with the takedowns, couldn't get anything going. I think it's a worthy number 3.
Yeah, for sure. Shit, that was number 3.
Yeah.
And it's mad, like, that could be higher up the list. Like, when you
Really
look at
good,
it and you go, like, what Holly done in that fight, that threw open a whole division. And now if you look at women's bantamweight division, like, Holly didn't defend her title. Miesha Tate wins the title. Miesha Tate doesn't defend her title. Amanda Nunes wins the title.
And who knows?
And now we don't know what's going to happen with Amanda Nunes. Like, on the card that's on this weekend, we have Holly Holm fighting fucking
Valentina
Shevchenko. Like, and some people are saying the winner of that gets a title shot. But then you have fucking Pena. Is it Juliana Pena? I always get her mixed up with the other one with the nose. And like, you know, people are saying she deserves a title shot. So we're going, what the fuck? Like, the division is wide open. Since Holly beat Ronda, that division's just wide open. And you said it, Robert. It looks like that belt is probably going to bounce around for a while.
I think it will, yeah. Like, if you know, if Holm wins that fight, I'd fancy Holm against Amanda Nunes. And the first fight that Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko had, that third round for Shevchenko could have finished Nunes.
Yeah, and we said if that goes over 5 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. So it could bounce around. Yeah, I think that's award number 3. Number 2, Frankie Edgar versus BJ Penn. Frankie Edgar over BJ Penn, number 1. BJ Penn was on a tear. He was clearly head and shoulders best 55er in the world. Yeah. Went to 170 at one point, won the title up there, was back down at 55. Yeah. Destroying people, destroying Diego Sanchez, finishing him by cuts. Yeah. Just looking amazing. Frankie Edgar had a loss to Gray Maynard, a very poor loss to Gray Maynard. Yeah. Was on a bit of a run, but no one was really taking too much notice. He was given the fight. Yeah. And then went there and beat him fairly convincingly, in my opinion. It was a close fight. Close enough, but I think, you know, people were complaining about the decision. I tend to agree with the decision.
For me, it was a clear-cut decision in favour of Frankie.
The first one was, and then the second was definitely.
Yeah, but like both fights, Frankie won that. And, do you know, I loved this fight. Do you know why? Because at the time when this fight was happening, I remember saying to people, Frankie's going to win that fight. Yeah. And I picked Frankie in that fight. You know, part of that is I love Frankie Edgar. He's a beast, and I've seen something in him. And another part of that is I can't stand BJ. I just can't stand him. I don't know what it is about him. Like, at that time, now I like him, but then
I know what it is.
Yeah, what's that?
It's that you're a big George St. Pierre fan, and they had that beef.
That's what it was, wasn't it? And he accused GSP of fucking greasing. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, that's why I was fanboying. That's exactly what it was.
Been a big fanboy.
Now I like BJ Penn, but back then I just didn't like him. You know, I didn't like him. I was like, you leave GSP alone. But I almost made it like a video on YouTube where I was like crying with mascara and I was like, leave Britney alone. Yeah. But Frankie's a beast.
Big win. I don't think we can disagree on that one. I think the top 2 anyway, this is where Noel had it. I think ours 3 was different than maybe 4. But we have number 1. I think most people would agree with this one. Matt Serra over GSP. Let's just start with this one.
GSP all the way up to GSP.
Lost this one.
Yeah, I know, but still, you come back and win the next one. Yeah, this was fucking shocking. I'll never forget watching that and just being like, no, GSP. and like so upset about her because I was still like I was relatively young at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this was going on like,
Human.
yeah, it's only a baby, like, you know. I only had like 3 pubes to my name, but it's fucking grim. Yeah, like Matt Serra went into that fight, and like I think it was, you know, something slightly similar to what happened with Rockhold.
Yeah.
You know, I think GSP just underestimated him, you know what I mean? And I think after that then GSP was like, I'm never letting that happen again because of the embarrassment
he
of
put an absolute hiding on him. And GSP actually tapped in that fight, the strikes.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Yeah. See, that hurts you.
It does. I'd say it hurts me more than it hurts GSP.
Yeah.
I'd say that's what it is.
Yeah, it was an incredible performance by Matt Serra. Like, people were saying, you know, if he goes in there, if he can, you know, last a little bit of time, maybe get onto the ground, maybe just sneak an alarm bar in there or a triangle, and he fucking knocked him out. It was just absolutely crazy. A couple that we missed, we you know, there's not too much to talk about with the Matt Serra but a couple we missed that we have on the list there. Chris Weidman over Anderson Silva. The reason for me I wouldn't have it on the list is because I actually picked Chris Weidman. I think at the time I was still like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, holy shit.
It's the end of an era.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And it was more of the way he beat him with the knockout. Anderson Silva was clowning and he caught him with that hook. So that was one. Another one there is Randy Couture over Chuck Liddell. They fought first. You know, Randy wasn't given much of a chance in that fight.
Yeah, again down to age, and you know, at that time Liddell would have been the young gun, and you know, the UFC was on Liddell's back. You know, like him and Tito were basically carrying the UFC. Obviously, you know, we look back as well. Randy was carrying it as well.
Yeah,
you know,
Randy was a big star as well.
But like, you know, Liddell back then, he was the Iceman. He was the man. You know what I mean? And then for Randy Couture to go out and beat him, like, incredible, absolutely amazing, incredible.
Forrest Griffin of our Rampage was on the list for a while, and we eventually removed it. He's a huge upset at the time. Like, Forrest, you know, came off the show, tough one, and he, you know, he was always looked at as a very good fighter. Never looked as the top fighter in the organisation. Yeah, he went out there, beat Shogun on Shogun's debut. Yeah, that was in Belfast. Strangely enough.
Yeah.
And he looked good in that fight. He looked very good in that fight. And then he got a title fight, but still no one really gave him a chance. No. He went in, he got the title. So that's definitely one up there. For Doom over Kane.
Yeah, like, you know, it didn't make the list because we knew Verdum had a like decent chance of winning the fight if it went to the ground. We said that, you know, Kane needs to keep it in clinch range or whatever and do what Kane does, but don't go into his guard, like. But then Kane went and completely gassed. That was the shocking part as well, you know. And then Verdum choking him out, like, yeah, that's a shocking fight as well, like, you know, in its own right.
Yeah. And those are the ones we have there. Can you think of any other big upsets? Although the reason why we done this list, we forgot to say at the top, was Amanda Nunes' win. Over Miesha Tate was shocking enough. I don't think it was shocking to even be mentioned in those. Like, it was for me. Like, I don't think it was. I don't know, like, Miesha Tate, I said before the fight, was that she doesn't have that air of invincibility. She always seems like she can be beat. Yeah. Even though I think she still is competitive against basically everyone in that division. I just don't think she's, you know, somebody who you can consistently bet on to win. Yeah.
The only thing shocking about that card was the fucking John Jones thing.
Yeah.
That was shocking. That card in itself was fucking shite. UFC 200 was bullshit. It was dog shit. It was amazing. It was amazing. But
we'll move on.
Yeah, that was shocking in its own right, you know. It was shocking in that people thought Miesha would survive.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
No.
So
she was submitted as well.
Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? So that was the shocking part about that, because Miesha was known for so long as a fighter that was durable. You know what I mean? She was durable. So, yeah, unfortunately fortunately for me, Miesha took a beating.
We all know your thoughts on Miesha Tate.
Yeah.
Although I think you're coming around.
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Always welcome on the show.
I'm not going to make that joke. I'll restrain myself.
Once was enough. So we'll talk about some of the notable fights on Bellator 158. We'll start with a guy who was on the show not too long ago, James Gallagher.
Yeah.
Big position on the card. Made his debut for Bellator, his fourth professional fight. Has plenty of amateur fights, we know that. What did you think of James's performance? He had a big win over Mike Cutton.
Fourth round, he was absolutely phenomenal. Like when he pulled, I believe it was the fourth round when he was like going for trying to cinch in the Kimura.
Yeah.
And Cutting turned, and straight away Gallagher sunk in the fucking, went to his back. I was like, it was fucking gorgeous. James was bleeding, dominating that fourth round. I said that it could have been a 10-8 round, other than at the end of it, Cutting managed to get in a few significant strikes on the ground. So I think that saved him from the 10-8. Second round, Cutting pretty much ran away from James for the majority of the round. James couldn't get anything going. He was going forward. Cutting was basically going off to the side, and you wouldn't even say stick and move because he didn't throw enough.
Well, he was warned. Yeah,
he got warned. Like, that tells you. Then the third round, James came out and blew him out of the water in the third round again. Superior grappling. Fucking at one point he had his gooch on his face. That's just embarrassing. Smell it, take it, lick it, fuck you. So yeah, well done, James Gallagher. Era and all that jazz. Proud of you.
Yeah, well done. It was. Everything you said was a good performance. I think James was a bit hard on himself after the fight, saying that he didn't think it was a good performance. I disagree. It was a big stage. I'm sure he wanted to finish. All his other professional fights have been finishes. Probably could have finished in the first.
Probably
could have got the choke in. Just didn't happen for him. But I think all in all, it was a good performance because Mike was I'd say a frustrating opponent for you because he kept moving away. He didn't really engage. When he did engage, he tried to land one shot and move.
Yeah, exactly.
So he couldn't really give James an awful lot to work with. But, he went in there, didn't take an awful lot of damage, got a paycheck, got a win, got your name out there, you're in Bama. It seemed like Bama were pushing him. They seemed like you had a lot
the lads on commentary were really bigging him up. Really bigging him up,
So,
looks like Bellator are going to get behind.
I think I said Bama too.
You did say Bama.
I always say.
You're a fucking tosspot.
Yeah, what an unprofessional fuck.
Yeah, you're a shy bag. Actually, a whore. The dash should have came in a sock. Anyway, next fight.
Fuck me.
You love it, really.
How do you even move from that? We'll move like this. Cyborg Santos got his face caved in.
Yeah, he did.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. We basically touched on this anyway. Yeah, this was fucking amazing. MVP.
He's a star, isn't he?
He's amazing.
He's a superstar.
Amazing. I'm telling you now, Bellator, good luck holding on to him.
Yeah.
Good luck. Because the UFC, they're under new ownership, but Dana White's still there. And I'm telling you now, if their fucking Eye of Sauron casts over MVP, good luck holding on to him. He'll be into the one ring, and that is the Octagon. That's right. 2 Lord of the Rings references right there for you. But Michael Venom Page is absolutely phenomenal in that fight. Bellator would really want to give him a seriously good deal to hold on to him.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't go all the way and win the title, it's just he attracts people. You know what I mean?
He's exciting.
Exactly. He's fucking amazing.
Amazing finish. A bit of experience for him. He got taken down. He looked okay there. Got back to his feet. He has such a weird style. It's very similar but different than Stephen Thompson, where he's basically completely on his side.
It's like a mix. It's like a mix between Anderson Silva and Stephen Thompson. Fucking,
it's amazing.
What a mix.
He's definitely one to watch. He's that's a good win from Santos is no joke. He's not.
But he's not. Santos isn't a mixed martial artist. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, but he has some decent strikes.
He's jiu-jitsu good.
He's good.
He was never going to stay with MVP on the feet.
Yeah.
Never. You could never hang in there. And he took a beating, as you would expect. But Venom Page got taken down on that fight, and that could have gone horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. And he got back to his feet.
Yeah.
Maybe if that was a better wrestler, someone with more fucking skill or whatever, then MVP might have been in trouble. But he didn't look like he was in trouble.
And that's the thing. I think Bellator get a bad rap sometimes, and it seems like I'm the one that always defend them in some way. I don't know why. It's weird. And I don't even watch a whole. I watch basically most of their events, most of their big fights, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan.
You want a job.
They do. I don't want a job.
You want a job.
Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not. But I do like the way they're building up Michael Page.
Yeah.
There's no harm in building somebody up slowly.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
He's got a couple of fights. People were moaning that he didn't get some bigger fights early in his career, but now he's starting to get a couple of big names. And I'd say his next fight is going to be, a decent step. And.
To be fair, like, we're saying that Bellator aren't giving him this fight, they're not giving him that fight. Do you ever consider that maybe Venom Page is going, no, I need to develop?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Michael Page, but I assume he's smart.
Yeah, assume so.
You know, you'd assume he's smart. Like, if his fighting IQ is definitely smart.
Yeah.
If that's anything to go by, then he's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
But maybe he is saying, "No, I want to build," or maybe it is Bellator saying you should build. But either way, somebody's doing it right.
I think Scott Coker's always been good that way. I think he's always kind of been able to build people up. Yeah, like he's had plenty of fighters there who he built up, like the likes of Gilbert Melendez. You have all those, like Jake Shields even.
Yeah,
Jake Shields was around before then. He was in Elite XC and stuff.
Yeah, but still,
he got a name for himself in Strikeforce.
Jacare
even likes of Nick Diaz, who a lot of his career was in Strikeforce, and they gave him good, exciting fights. I think that's what they're doing with Michael Page, and I like it. Next one was Francis Carmont against Lucas Klinger. Is that right?
Klinger. I don't really care.
Francis Carmont, first round submission. I'm not sure if you've seen this one.
I didn't
miss this one, but Klinger didn't look very good.
Some could say he was clinging on.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! That hurt.
Fuck's sake. Turn that camera off. No, he didn't look great. Like, Francis Carmont set up a Darce choke. First round, he was clearly looking for it. He set it up, couldn't get the grip. Didn't have enough kind of leverage, and he didn't have his arm sunk in forward enough, so he literally let go of it, threw a few elbows and got a second time. So like it didn't look like
how much of that was bad defense and just giving up.
I'm not sure. It wasn't a great performance, so it's not too much to say about that fight. Carmont looked good. He was absolutely hyped after the fight, but I don't think too much of Klinger. Matt Mitrione and Ollie Thompson got in a bit of a slugfest. Matt Mitrione came out on top and got a big knockout in the second round. It was a typical Matt Mitrione performance. On the feet, striking, a little bit of clinching. Ollie Thompson, he's fine.
I don't know who he is, to be honest.
He's been around quite a while. I think he's a former powerlifter, as far as I know.
Oh.
But Matt Mitrione looked good. People were talking about him coming in after like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was worried about.
He looked okay,
you hear, what's that? Secondary concussion syndrome. Am I saying that right?
Something like that.
So basically, if you have a concussion, you get hit in the head. Literally, you could die straight away.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's my understanding of it. Very rudimentary, and I also have a couple of beers in me. So that's the one thing I was worried about coming into that fight. I like Matt Mitrione. I'd hate to fucking see anything happen to him. I'm rooting for Matt Mitrione to go on and be Bellator heavyweight champion. Him or Justin Wren. I picked Justin Wren, definitely. But Matt Mitrione, me head, like, I'd love to see him do well, and I'm happy for Matt Mitrione going to Bellator, getting his payday. Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits for him. So I hope he makes all the money he can and retire with all his senses, because I love Matt Mitrione.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he passed all his medicals, but there was some shady shenanigans going on with Bellator and forging medicals. Did you see that?
No. Yeah,
there was accusations of them basically forging medical information or something. Yeah, it's just right up about it. Let's leave it at that. And then the main event was Douglas Lima against Paul Daly. Tough fight for Paul Daly. It was always going to be a tough fight against Douglas Lima. Douglas, I think, just has too much for him. Showed it in the fight. Got the decision. I thought it was a fairly decisive victory for him. The commentators were saying, I wouldn't be kind of resting on your laurels too much because,
in the
UK, but I thought it was a fairly straightforward win. Douglas Lima looked good. Paul Daly didn't look too bad. Looked fine. But just had too much from him. But I think that's what we expected in that fight. No more, no less.
It is a pity though, because Paul Daly's always exciting and his hands are heavy as fuck.
Yeah, and he's a big star as well.
He is a big star, and it would have been nice to have like another European mixed martial arts champion. So, it's just unfortunate, But hopefully he bounced back stronger than ever. And Paul Daly's always active, And it helps he's a nut job. I love him. He's great.
Punching bitches out there.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about Brock Lesnar. So, Brock Lesnar comes back to the UFC for UFC 200 against Mark Hunt. Big fight. Everyone's excited. He showed up at the UFC 199 pay-per-view, was it? Like, he showed up on the screen.
Yeah. Can you see me now?
Yeah, and then there's always questions about his physique, one would say.
Yeah.
A lot of people had questions. He came in, he wasn't a part of the USADA drug testing, the 4-month drug testing they have to do. I think it's 4 months or 3 months prior to signing. So once they sign, they have to basically stay off for 4 months, get tested randomly, and then they can fight.
Yeah.
He wasn't subject to that, but he was tested. And I think it was a June 29th or 30th test. It was late June.
Yeah.
He failed a drug test.
And I believe he was tested 5 times previous up until that point.
Yeah, he was tested a few times, passed them all, and then failed that one. So I'm assuming he was tested after that as well. So we'll see what comes from that.
Yeah.
But he did pass the ones prior to that one. So
strange, isn't it? Very strange. Like, you know, do you think... I won't speculate yet, but yeah, that's very odd. Very odd. Like, I'm not too sure how that works. You know,
you can only assume that he took something after those
the 5th
tests.
test.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I was thinking about it. If that's the case, obviously it's randomly drug tested, so you assume Brock thought he was in the clear.
That's the logic you'll get from him, isn't it?
So, do you think that Brock had an idea when he was over with the WWE that he was going to try himself to get onto the UFC 200 card? You know, because Brock himself knows, right, this is my calendar year for the WWE Universe. This is how many matches I'm going to have this year, many appearances. So he could have done a cycle of something, got himself into great physical shape, and then after a couple of months, after everything was gone out of his system, basically, because he said he rang up Dana and said, get me onto UFC 200. So you would have imagined that was around the time that Conor fell out, or that Jones and Cormier was announced.
Yeah, maybe.
So this is just my theory, that maybe he done a cycle of something, say, get me onto UFC 200, and by the time everything was all done, everything would have been out of his system. So his first 5 tests would have come back clean. After the 5th test, he assumed he was in the clear, so he went back on to doing a cycle, maybe.
It's so strange, though, because like these are tested randomly, okay?
Yeah.
So even if you assume, okay, I've tested 5 times, I'm going to take the chance that I'm not going to be tested again. You know you're going to be tested pre-fight. Yeah. You know that. And post-fight. Always tested them at times. They're not the random ones. They're the ones that you know.
They're the set.
Yeah, those are the ones that, you know, people say if you fail those ones, you're just silly, or you don't know how to cycle or whatever.
Yeah.
So you'd assume that he would have known that those ones are coming up. And UFC 200 was what date? Like it was like early July.
Yeah, something like that.
Mid early July. So I don't know, whatever he was on, I'm assuming, or allegedly on, because, you know, he still can test the B sample and stuff. So if it comes back negative, then we'll see what happens. But you'd assume that, you know, don't take something so close to the fight.
No, it was Kangaroo Me. Him and Frank Mir were catching up.
Yeah.
You know, Brock was all like, remember that time that I punched you in the head? And Frank Mir was all like, remember that time I heel hooked the life out of you?
Yeah. And you're like, look what I'm eating.
Yeah. Well, fucking Kangaroo Me. Yeah. Deadly. Class, yeah.
Fucking hilarious he brought that up, wouldn't it?
He should.
And like, I was with Frank Mir, he had a horseshoe up his ass and went to meet Kangaroo Me.
Yeah, so I took it out of his head and beat a kangaroo over whatever. I said that completely wrong. But still, yeah, like that's, you know, it's fucked up. Like, now this is the part where I was saying it to you and Noel in the private chat about, like, you know, if this, you know, is true and Brock done a cycle of something, and obviously he got popped for something, we don't know what it is yet. Yeah. Hopefully it comes out soon. But this seriously undermines the USADA program for the UFC. And Noel was saying to me, in what way? I just didn't have a time to give a full argument. And my argument is, like, look, everybody knows that there's rampant fucking, you know, drug use in WWE. Yeah, they brought in all these new programs and, like, to say, you know, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But that's, let's be honest, that's a facade. You know what I mean? That was literally to say we're doing something about it. That's all that was. They're all on shit over there. it's not necessarily a bad thing. Those people that are in WWE, they need to be on shit. The amount of injuries that they get, they need to be on some sort of fucking steroid that will help their body heal up that bit quicker, you know what I mean? That's only fair. They shouldn't be denied that. But when it comes to mixed martial arts and you have like a fighter coming in out of WWE, it doesn't even have to be out of WWE, but a fighter that's coming from a background where we know there's at the very least some sort of enhancement going on there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd argue that rather than them getting tested 4 months, previously, it probably needs to be a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think those are the questions coming in because the UFC have the right to either waive that or go for it. They chose to waive it.
See, my argument here is, Robert, is that the whole reason why USADA testing was brought in was for fighter safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're willing to allow two men who are weighing in at 265 coming in at God knows what.
Yeah.
Two men. One who we know is clean in Mark Hunt. We know he's clean because he's passed all his tests. If he's on something, then he's doing very well at hiding.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be honest. And then you have another man in Brock Lesnar who we know is in WWE and is most likely without a doubt on something. Most likely without a doubt on something. Somewhere in between there, right? Don't give me that De Niro face. He's on the sauce. He's on the sauce, right? So your argument is we have USADA here for fighter safety, but let's bring in Brock Lesnar. He already looks like a fucking gorilla, but fuck it, he's only been on a course of fucking God knows what. And we put him against Mark Hunt. Fighter safety though.
Yeah.
It just undermines everything, and it makes your position then look weak when it comes to USADA testing. Why should I respect USADA and what you're trying to get me to do if you're going, but we'll make an exception?
Yeah.
You know what? You can make us this much money, so we'll make the exception. So do you know what to do? Talk mad shit.
Yeah.
Absolute mad shit. Do all the steroids you want. Hype up a fight. It's grand because you're going to make millions. And it doesn't matter about fighter safety. Doesn't matter. As long as you make us money, we don't care. That's what that's coming across.
I get where you're coming from. I don't assume that everybody's on something over there. I know what you mean. Like a lot of them do look like it.
The vast majority.
Yeah, like I know that they do have a drug testing thing. So
drug testing.
If you pass, you pass. I completely get that. Like I completely get it. I think the argument there is if they should have waived the testing thing. Yeah. You obviously don't think they should.
No.
I personally don't think they really should.
No.
When it came out, I don't think it was as big of a deal, just based on the way he worded it. Like, you know, he wasn't there when the USADA thing done, so he wasn't using it as a loophole to get out and come back in. So I get that.
Yeah,
that's fine. But I still personally think that they should just be tested anyway because, you know, just test them. But I do understand what you mean in a way like that. Why doesn't this come out earlier? Like, why aren't he pulled from the fight? Like, John Jones was pulled from the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I understand that he needs to go through testing. They have so many tests they need to do. But, like, should there not be a thing where, you know, if you're testing a fighter going into a fight, they should have priority. They should be like, okay, they're fighting on whatever the date is, just say July 11th. Their test should come back by July 6th or whatever.
Yeah.
A few days before the event. So we know, are they on something, are they not? Because he did fight on something, we assume.
Yeah.
If his B sample doesn't come back as negative, he was on something. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
A huge fight in the UFC. They're trying to, you know, stop this from happening, and he was on something.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get people arguing, okay, John Jones was pulled off, why wasn't Brock Lesnar? And then, you know, the layperson doesn't realise that, oh, well, you know, these tests have to go here, here, and here, but people be like, well, just take both of them off, like test them both. You should have them in. I completely understand that, coming from that perspective. Obviously, we do like that they're testing people anyway.
Yeah,
but it should really come a bit quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. It should come a bit quicker, and I agree that fighters should be pulled off cards, because if you're, I'm going around in circles here, but if you're preaching fighter safety, and then you're allowing fighters to go in, one's juiced up to the gills and the other one isn't, like, it just weakens your position overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't get my respect then. You know what I mean? And Mark Hunt now, he's out. Obviously, Mark Hunt's talking mad shit, and rightfully so. He's saying about, like, I want half his purse. No, you know what? Cheaters shouldn't get anything. Give me all his purse. You know what? I agree with that. right? If you're coming in from the position of we don't want people juiced up to the gills because it's too dangerous and it's for fighter safety, then why should Mark Hunt have to go in there, fight a man that's juiced up to the tits, risk his life, let's be honest, every time you step into an octagon, a mixed martial arts match, a boxing fight, wherever combat it is, sport. Any combat sport, wherever it is, you're taking your life into your own hands. One wrong hit and that's it. That can be the end of you. We want to limit that. We don't want fighters on steroids, you know what I mean, or on whatever else that they're on. So yeah, I agree 100%. Brock Lesnar shouldn't get his purse, 100%.
Yeah,
and he should be fined.
Yeah, I'm assuming he will be fined. We don't know what it is now. Obviously, we'll keep everybody up to date on the shows once it comes out. And we'll obviously talk about it because it is a big thing. You know, they're bringing guys in and they're testing positive.
Yeah.
For something.
Yeah.
And we assume it's performance enhancing because they don't get pulled from cards if it's not a performance enhancing. So let me say that correctly. So if it's a performance enhancing drug, they can get pulled from a card. If it's not, if it's like a recreation, they can't.
Yeah.
So either.
Well, they can if it's in Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, USADA won't pull.
Yeah, USADA won't.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But yeah, so it's either like a recreational drug, and that's the reason why it didn't come out before.
Yeah.
Or it's a PED, and it came out after.
Yeah.
So once we find that out, we can say, and then we can criticize them on, or we can analyze that on you know what the basis of that was. But yeah, there's not too much else to say about it. It's unfortunate that you know a man went in there. You know, great performance by Brock Lesnar by all accounts. Yeah. Amazing performance, but
yeah, no, like he still had the skill to win the fight. The only thing I will say now is, I think, again, this is speculation. Like, Brock was asked, you know, in the post-fight interview, do you think he'll ever come back? And he was like, you know what, I have stuff to do with the WWE. I'll have to think about this after that. I'm saying Brock probably knew he was going to get popped for something.
Maybe.
And if it is a PED or something like that, that's an automatic 2-year ban from the sport. Brock's already fucking 37, 38 years of age. Yeah. We're not going to see Brock Lesnar back in the UFC if that's the case.
No, that's the first thing I said. Gone. Yeah, that's Brock's UFC
gone.
Yeah,
gone. So yeah, this is probably the last we'll ever see of Brock Lesnar. And I think that Brock, he probably came in, you know, with the intention of just coming back for this one fight, and he knew he was going to get popped. That's what I think.
Maybe.
Now that's probably just me being fucking pessimistic or whatever, but still, I'm a realist about these things. That's how I think. Also, I've been saying this a lot lately, and I'm going to keep saying it because eventually I see it coming down the line, and I hope it comes down the line because I want people to be able to go, you know what, this lad has been saying this for ages. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why don't USADA release their own supplements? They're making enough fucking money. Release USADA approved supplements for fighters,
good point,
for athletes. Then we know, look, we're literally spoon feeding you. Yeah. You have to be fucking thick to fail a test.
Yeah.
You want to be one silly cunt to fail a test.
Yeah.
There you go. Take this shit. It'll make you feel better. It's not on our banned list. There you go.
Yeah.
Solves all your headaches.
USADA.
Get your shit together.
This man over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to end it. And we will talk a little bit about kind of something that we were talking about in a way. The UFC sale.
Forgot about that.
We never talk about that. Yeah. So there's been a couple of things happening since the UFC sale. There's been a few fighters talking about the UFC sale. In particular, they're talking about the value of the sale and if maybe they're undervalued due to the value of that the actual UFC sold for. So you had the TJ Dillashaw coming out talking about the fact that they're being treated as employees, basically. You know, they're basically employees, but without the employee title and the employee rights. So they're working as independent contractors, but as employees, they're, you know, for the video game, their likeness is taken. They need to tell USADA where they are, tell the UFC where they are, so they can test it at any time.
Yeah,
like that's not something an independent contractor has to do in general. You know, in real life. So that's one thing. Other things was that there was a couple of tweets. One by Neil, a hilarious one by Neil Seary when he was saying that oh grand, the UFC was sold for $4 billion. Can't wait for me percentage. So when I get that percentage, I'm going into work and I'm telling me boss to fuck off, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, tongue in cheek shit.
Yeah.
But
hopefully he gets like something on his leap card anyway.
yeah.
Doesn't have to blade and cycle to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Freezing his bollocks off.
Yeah, or at least pay for his, like, do you know the bike things where you can rent them out?
Yeah.
Get one of those, because they're nice bikes. They have baskets and all in front of them.
Pretty cool.
Then there was other fighters come out and, you know, it wasn't really a joke. I'm sure there was a little bit of truth in what Neil Series said. Like, Jesus Christ, $4 billion.
Yeah.
Give us some of that, like. But there's other fighters who come out and said that, you know, Jesus, $4 billion. Like, let's start, you know, giving the fighters cuts of these things, and, you know, start paying the fighters a little bit more money. So then there was an article, a great article that I actually posted up today by Mark Raimondi from MMAfighting.com. Check that out. Very, very good. He was talking about this guy, and I'm going to actually just get it up here because it's very interesting. A guy called Rob Mazie. He has a organisation, an association called the Mixed Martial Arts Fighters Association. So he's obviously trying to create a union. And basically he said that this could be the catalyst. The $4 billion sale of the UFC could be the catalyst for fighters to say, this fucking organisation is sold for $4 billion and I'm not getting paid even close to the cut I should be. Especially the top fighters who, you know, are making tons of money. But when you look at that valuation, are they really being paid
fairly? Quick answer, no. Based on what we know. Quick answer, no.
Yeah.
But even then, Robert, like £4 billion, like, that's an ungodly amount of money.
Yeah.
Ungodly. Like,
you can't even comprehend how much that is.
We need to add up the average earnings for an average family in Ireland and how many families over how many generations it would take to make $4 billion.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You know what I mean? That's a serious amount of money.
Well, it's the biggest sports sale franchise ever.
And it's valued more than like the Dallas Cowboys and shit like that. You know, it's fucking crazy money. Absolutely crazy. Have you been watching the MMA Hour or anything with Ariel Helwani or anything like that?
I've been watching bits and pieces, The MMA Hour I love the MMA Hour. Ariel's the best, but it's a fucking 4-hour show, so it's hard to get through the whole thing, you know.
I love the MMA
Oh, it's great.
I watch it a lot.
He's one of the best.
But Ariel's been one of the... Ariel's very pro fighter. That's what I love about Ariel. I'm along the same mindset
probably
myself.
To his own detriment.
Probably, but I'm along the same mindset myself, you know what I mean? This is your talent. You have to look after it. You know what I mean? You don't want the fucking Monday Night Wars coming up. You know what I mean? Fucking Kevin Nash and Blading, all the lads, bouncing over to fucking WCW because they're getting paid more money. You know what I mean? But like £4 billion. $4 billion. As I said, that's a serious amount of money. But Ariel's the one saying, like, look, are we seeing now that this company, how much it's really worth? And let's be honest. Yeah, you're buying the UFC, but what you're really buying are their fighter contracts.
Yeah.
That's what you're buying. They have the best fighters on the planet. You take away them fighters, what you have left? You just have the UFC.
You have the UFC. You have a great back catalogue of fights.
Exactly. That's all you have. And the fact that these are free agents, as soon as their contracts are up, they're going, I know you're worth $4 billion.
Yeah, they know.
Do you want to give me the money?
That's the thing, yeah.
If not, I'll bounce.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, before now, people had like a hypothetical value of what the UFC was worth. Like, that's the fighters. They didn't know. They said, oh, it could be worth this, could be worth this. But now they have a number. They know what it's worth. They know what it's sold for.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of leverage in a way.
Yeah.
Even though, like, it's not directly concerning them.
No.
It's leverage that they can say, hey, you
to be fair,
it is.
Yeah,
but what I mean, it's not like concerning their value.
Yeah.
Although in a way it is, because you know
that's their projected value.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially the top fighters. So, what do you think? Like, what do you think of the possibility of like a fighter union is? Like, a lot of people would say that, you know, these guys, you know, especially the top guys, would be very individual. You know.
Yeah.
They want it. If they get a good contract for themselves, that's all they want.
Yeah. Like, it's for me, the UFC is running on the mindset of the invisible hand guides all. It's neoliberalism at its finest. It's capitalism. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's, you know, trickle down economics. If you can get to the top, you're gonna do very, very well for yourself.
Yeah.
But even then, in comparison to what the UFC is actually worth, you're not doing that well.
Yeah.
In
like,
comparison,
look at the money that Dana White got.
Exactly.
The amount that he got for the sale.
You know, and I believe Dana got 9% of the company or something like that.
I think it's 9% of
the sale
profits. I think it's something like 9. I think he owns a certain percentage of the company, and then he gets like 9% of the profits each year.
Jesus Christ.
Or the 7%.
Yeah.
But he gets a section of the profits each year.
He's getting a shitload.
Oh, he's getting paid.
He's getting a shitload of money. Rightfully so. Dana does a lot of work.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
Dana doesn't step in the octagon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is the thing. Like, you, as I said, you take away that roster of fighter, all you have left are those 3 letters, UFC. And now fighters are going, yeah, there's a number attached to you. I'm taking this for everything I can get. And I definitely think that a fighter should be open to, you know what, if you do get rid of me, I don't really care. There is money to be made in Bellator. You've cornered yourself here with the UFC deal. Oh, sorry, with the Reebok deal.
Yeah.
I definitely think if you're Rory McDonald, someone of that standard, now Rory is world class, mate, you know. Like, if you're somebody of that standard, Rory can afford to lose his last fight and go to Bellator. He's still going to get a sick payday.
There is like thoughts of that.
Yeah, he's still going to get a sick payday because of the sponsorships, you know what I mean? That Reebok deal, that's the worst thing to ever happen to the UFC, if you ask me. It's probably the worst deal that the UFC has ever made concerning their own fighters. They screwed their fighters.
Yeah.
100%. They screwed their fighters. That's a company not caring about their, you know, employees. Technically, they're not employees, but yeah, like, I just think that a union, in some senses, could be the best thing to happen to mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
But it could be the worst thing to happen to mixed martial arts. The one thing we don't want to see is a boxing format.
Yeah.
I don't want to see where a union comes in and then you have the best of the best split off.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, Mayweather Promotions. You know, I don't want that to happen to mixed martial arts. I like the fact that we have, it's basically a league system.
Yeah.
You know, you have BAMA and the rest of the European promotions, then you have Bellator, and then you have the UFC. Obviously, you have
One FC.
You have One FC.
Exactly, all those.
Risen and all them. But, you know, it is kind of like a league system. And there's a progression, you know, there. And that's, I like having that. It's a good system to have. I just hate to see the market get watered down to a point where we're going, I'd love to see this fighter fight, you know, like a Pacquiao Mayweather situation, but then they're, you know, at loggerheads because of I own my own promotion, so I don't want this. Similar to what happened with Fedor. Similar to what happened with Fedor, you know what I mean? Don't want to see that happen, but hopefully if they do bring in a union, that doesn't happen, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think a union could be a good idea if it's done right.
I think it's definitely a good idea. I think anything to help the fighter negotiate their contracts. Like, they don't have any protection. Like, at the moment, basically what it is the UFC gives you a contract, and you say, okay, I sign it or I don't. If you don't sign it, you're not fighting for the UFC.
Yeah.
There's no, okay, I don't like this. Now, I'm sure with the top fighters, there's probably a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, like, when McGregor will renew his contract, when, you know, Gilbert Melendez had a kind of a big deal with the UFC because...
He got a Porsche made of Ferraris.
Yeah. He had that thing with Bellator because there was a bit of a leverage there because Bellator want them. So I think the way you're seeing, you know, Bellator come into the free agency now, you have the likes of McGregor who's questioning his payment when it comes to like press conferences and stuff like that, and now you have that sale, and then you have other fighters going to lower level, like Jeremy Stevens come out on Twitter and said a couple of things. Now you need more than people coming out on Twitter, and you need more than just the Jeremy Stevens to come out. With all respect, with all respect to Jeremy Stevens, who's, you know, a great fighter and you know, a decent draw in the UFC. Like, he's not going to turn too many heads, but a lot of people know who Jeremy Stevens is. But you need the big guys. You need the big
heavies.
Guns. Exactly.
You need the heavies.
But it'd be an interesting story to follow.
Cormier kind of pissed me. It didn't piss me off, but kind of.
Yeah.
I was like, Dan, what you doing? Like, you know, it was a bit disappointing because the way he was talking about, you know, the UFC being sold and stuff, he was like, I'll be alright, you know, like, I'm not a person that spends money. He was like, I get my money, I put it in the bank and I save it. And that's why he said he wasn't too disappointed about taking the wage cut for UFC 200. If you ask me, like, you know, I don't think you should have taken a wage cut, to be fair. You know, like, he's still turning up to the fucking biggest card in the last 7 years to fight. He's still taking his life into his own hands, you know what I mean? He's going in there against an absolute killer in Anderson Silva. So what was only on so many hours.
It's like people forget how good Anderson Silva is.
Anderson Silva's a fucking monster. He's a monster. You can hear me voice crack as I say that. You know what I mean? It's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And he went in and made Silva look like a chump. Like, you know.
The crowd didn't think.
Fuck the crowd. Bunch of bleeding arse rape every one of them.
That's a beep.
We do not promote arse rape at Obviously Fight Talk.
That's the second beep.
That's the second beep.
Oh, fuck. So we'll move on. I think it's an interesting story that everybody should keep an eye on because it's important and we support fighter rights. Yeah. And just rights in general. Yeah.
Fighter rights, you know, it's up there with the... no,
don't do it. So, UFC on Fox 92.
Oh, yeah.
Holm versus Shevchenko. So we're going to break down the full card. We won't go too in-depth with it, but we'll go as in-depth as we can.
Because I'll be notebook there.
I'll give Carl his notebook. Here we go.
So, back up
we'll go through the records because Carl loves this bit. So we'll go through the records. So Carl is still on top of the leaderboard with a 66.66% ratio with 60 wins and 30 losses. So 60 winning predictions, 30 losing predictions.
Can I just say 666, the number of the beast? Iron Maiden, check it out. Chill.
I'm second with a 61.95, so almost 62% win ratio with 57 wins and 35 losses. Then we have Noel O'Keefe, who has 51 wins with 34 losses, which gives him a bang on 60% ratio. And then Dan moved back to the bottom at number 4 with 37 wins and 29 losses with a win ratio of 58.73%.
Looks like hell I'm over Heady's picks have been off the past few weeks. Dan, get your shit together.
I love the way Noel's away from 1 week, so you have to take over the bullying role.
I have to fill in. Yeah. I have to. Noel will be disappointed.
You will be. So we will start with this fight. We have it up here. You just can't see it, but we have it up here on the TV.
It's not TV. It's a projector.
It's a projector. Yeah.
It's a TV. It's a TV.
Yeah. So fight number 1. Eddie Wineland versus Frankie Saenz. Frankie,
I don't know. Frankie Swayze.
Who'd you have?
Look like it. For me, this is a decent fight. Yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Eddie Wineland on his night is a fucking dangerous man. Mm-hmm. Frankie Saenz in his last fight had Uriah Faber. And my Jesus, did he test Uriah Faber.
Yeah.
He tested him good.
Yeah.
For me, in this fight, I'm going off, their last fights really, and Eddie Wineland's fight doesn't stick out in my mind. I know he's coming off of a loss because we did check it before this. Keep in mind,
he's coming off 2 losses.
Yeah, I'm coming into this completely blind. I'm off a fucking 9.5 hour shift, and the lads go, "Oh yeah, there's UFC on next week. Yeah, you have to pick." Cunts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm picking Frankie Saenz in this fight, and I think Frankie Saenz is gonna win by decision. I'm picking a Rob Palin special here.
Very nice.
Decision. I just think in the scramble he's too much.
Yeah, he works quite hard.
Yeah, I think in the scramble he's too much. His boxing is technical as well. Yeah. I think Eddie on the feet though has more, but Frankie can make it a fight.
Yeah, I think Eddie would have more power. That's the one reason why I would lean towards Eddie. But I'm not going to go that way. I think Eddie's been declining a little bit since his fight with Henan Burrell when he was spinning back kicked. He was going for a takedown. He kind of dropped levels and then he was spinning back kick to the face. It looked like it was a body shot attempted by Henan Burrell. But yeah, I think he's on the downslide. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Frankie Saenz, good fighter. Like he's not a big name.
No.
But he's a grinder. He'll go in there. He'll make it dirty. And he'll make it a fight. I think Wineland, if you can keep it on the feet and keep it at range, Wineland's hands are really, really good. As Joe Rogan likes to say, he doesn't have that traditional style. He likes to keep his hands down, which can be a problem for him, but can also be very, very good because he can defend that takedown.
Exactly.
He gets the immediate underhooks. He
already has the underhooks.
Exactly, but I do think Frankie will just outwork him in this one.
Yeah.
I think it will be a decision as well. I'm going to go with you there. But I don't want to count out Eddie Wineland too much. But without too much kind of work going into this, we didn't get time to really watch past fights too much. We go with Frankie Sense to get a decision.
Grand. The lads gave in their picks, didn't they?
No, I asked. He said yeah, but he didn't give them to me.
Alright, so if you don't get them in by tomorrow, you aren't getting them.
You don't count.
You don't count yet.
Up next, we have Caelan Curran versus Felice Herrig. This is one of the
that ass. Yeah, I know who I'm picking.
So we have Caelan Curran versus Felice Herrig. It's a tough one because Herrig, is one of those fighters who...
Her name's Herrig?
Herrig.
I thought it was Heron.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like
Heath Herring. I've been lied to my entire life.
No, you just don't know how to read.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm going to go with Felice Herrig in this one. The only reason is because she is a bit more experienced. Yeah. She's a better striker. She's okay at keeping it on the feet. She's a little bit more clean on the feet than Curran, who was a little bit wild. She's still very young in her career. I think she has 6 fights. Is that right?
4 and 2. You
4 and 2. Yeah. She has 6. Yeah, sure. She has 6 fights.
Jeez, you really need glasses.
No, I'm pretty. I could see all that. I just wasn't looking.
Yeah, right.
But I'm gonna go with Herrig, and I'm not happy about it because I think that Curran does have the ability to outwork her. Herrig, she does gas sometimes. She packs a little bit of muscle. Like she's
muscular broad.
She's muscular broad. Did you say and broad or
she's a muscular broad?
Broad woman.
I meant
okay,
the pun.
Good. So I'm gonna go with Felice Herrig. But could be a close one. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Felice Herring. Felice Heron.
Still can't say it.
I don't really care.
Herrig.
Felice Heron. Crazy cow, whatever it's called. Crazy horse.
Crazy horse. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Herrig simply because I love her. Yeah, I love Felice Herring. She's fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Serious, man. That's why I'm picking her. Just I said in the last fight about
go with next fight.
No, fuck off. I said about last time with James Gallagher how your man that he was fighting, he was basically sitting on his face at one point and like.
Don't do it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I'm going with Felice Herrig.
Oh, okay.
Have to keep this clean, but yeah. Yeah.
So many beeps. We're gonna go next one. We're gonna go with Francis. Carl, you can do this one. I can never do it.
Ngannou.
Francis Ngannou, and then Carl, you can do this one as well. Bojan
Mihalovic.
In this one, I'm gonna go with Francis Ngannou because in his last fight, looked fairly good. Got a big knockout victory. He is a striker predominantly. He's a big man, very muscular. So if it goes into the later rounds, you wouldn't really trust him. But if you actually look at, I'm gonna call him Bojan. Bojan's record is a decent record of 10-3. But you look at who he's fought. He's fighting on the I think it's the Russian kind of scene, or the Eastern European scene, fighting guys who are like 2-6 and fucking 11-27. Not great records, not great guys. Hasn't really been tested very much. And Ngannou, has a lot of power on the feet. He'll have a lot of reach on him, I'm sure. We have his reach up there. Actually, it's 83-inch reach. I'm assuming he has a lot of reach because the other guy, Bojan's only 5'11". And
he doesn't actually have a reach.
He doesn't have a reach yet. Yeah, and he doesn't have a picture as well.
Yeah.
He obviously hasn't.
He
hasn't showed up to do that yet. But Ngannou, he's a decent prospect. I like him on the feet. Very, very powerful. Has good combinations when he lets himself go. Can be a little bit too patient at times.
Yeah.
But once he lets his hands go, and if he can land on you, it's game over.
Yeah.
Bojan, seen a little bit of him. He's a small heavyweight.
He's small, yeah.
Like he's short, he's
stocky.
Yeah. So I think if you can get on under the legs of Francis, who has been taken down a few times. Looked okay on his back. He usually what he does is kind of just waits in the guard until he can get up, kicks him off.
Derek Lewis style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He won't work too much off his back. He'll just kind of keep position
Conserve energy until
he has a nice kind of underhook to stand up.
Yeah.
So we'll go with him. We'll go him to get a finish in the first round. We'll go late first round and knockout.
Very good. Very good. I'm going with Ngannou simply because he looks like a bigger, blacker version of Lukaku. Okay. Well, obviously not for that reason, but yeah, Ngannou's an absolute killer. I don't know the other guy. I like Ngannou. He's huge. He's muscular as fuck. He carries like sledgehammer at the end of his fucking arms. He's ridiculous looking. This man's an absolute specimen.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, people in fucking drug testing, and he hasn't failed, holy fuck. He's ridiculous looking.
Yeah,
he's actually ridiculous.
He's a mountain of a man.
Yeah, he's fucking gigantic. I'm going with Ngannou to win by pure fucking destruction. I can't wait to see this fight. Yeah, Ngannou. Let's do this. Knockout.
Yeah. I'm up next, yeah.
So I said Ngannou. The next fight is Gilbert Melendez versus Edson Barboza.
Probably the best fight in the card.
Most likely the best fight in the card, yeah. This is Gilbert's first fight back from suspension.
Yeah.
How long was he out for?
Ooh. Eddie Alvarez. When was that fight? I'll search that one.
Yeah, no worries. But basically Melendez got popped, and I said this, the day Gilbert Melendez got popped was the day that the fucking world just collapsed around me. Because if Gilbert Melendez can get popped for steroids, holy fuck. If you see what Gil looks like, he doesn't look like somebody that's on steroids. No. It's ridiculous. No. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily,
We're human. We go for the smell test first.
Yeah, exactly. I love the smell test, Yeah, like he didn't look like fucking Uber him, let's be honest, you know what I mean? And for Gilbert to get popped was absolutely shocking. But he's fighting Edson Barboza in this next fight now, and for his first fight back, man, that's a serious fucking test. Barboza's been on an absolute tear, and Barboza's last fight, he fought Anthony Pettis, former champion, wherever. Pettis is on a slide, but he made him look like a chump. You know what I mean? So absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm not too sure who I'm picking in this fight. I'm leaning towards Barboza, but Gil has showed a lot in the past.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the kicks, though.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Speed
kills. Oh. This is literally a fucking coin flip. Black side is Barboza and white side is Gil. Gilbert Melendez. Gil literally can't pick. Yeah. Go with Melendez.
This is the first first in OFT history.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go against that one. I'm gonna go with Barboza. I think you have many questions coming in against Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah.
We know we're gonna get Edson Barboza. Now if Gilbert Melendez shows up and shows what he can do on his best day, he could look really, really good and he could win it.
Yeah.
Because Barboza has problems with pressure fighters and Gilbert Melendez is a pressure fighter. But I think just the speed that Edson Barboza brings to the table with his kicks, with his combinations, with his hands, with everything, I think it's just be a little bit too much. Then you have Gilbert Melendez coming off that long layoff.
Yeah. Did you find how long it was there?
I did. It is. So his last fight was against Eddie Alvarez in 2015. So it's over a year. So it was June. Right. So it's over a year.
So it was a year last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Edson Barboza in this one again. Close fight, anything can happen, but I think Edson Barboza a bit more active.
Yeah.
And I think he's just the quicker fighter in there. I think he's gonna be able to get off first, land some vicious leg kicks, which will really slow down Melendez and get the win. Melendez is tough, so I don't think he's gonna finish him. I think it's gonna be a decision.
Very good. That's so far our first
disagreement and
most
likely you'll get it right because you're on the streak.
No, it doesn't necessarily translate, but yeah.
And the main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus former champ Holly Holm.
Yeah. Every time I hear the name Shevchenko, I laugh a little because Shevchenko missed a penalty against Liverpool in the Champions League final.
Andrei
And
Shevchenko.
yeah. So every time I hear it, I giggle a little.
Yeah.
But this fight, it's an interesting fight.
Yeah, it is.
Because Holly's coming off her loss to Misha.
Mm-hmm.
But in that fight, she looked really well.
Yeah.
She lost
First
in the
4
end.
rounds.
Yeah,
First 4.5 rounds.
First 3 rounds. She lost second round. It was scored a 10-8 against her.
Yeah.
She clearly lost that round, you know. But Holly, you know, was winning that fight. Like, she was there and she was winning the fight, and then she gets choked out. And then Valentina Shevchenko coming off a loss against a new champion.
New champion.
Amanda Nunes, whatever you want to call her. Amanda Brazil, the Lioness. The first openly gay champ in UFC history. You know,
it's big.
Gay pride, raw for that.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like fucking in that fight, man, we said if that was to go 5 rounds, Amanda Nunes doesn't get that title shot.
No.
Shevchenko was starting to come back. Nunes lost that third round. Yeah, Nunes lost that third round. This fight, this is my breakdown of the fight. I think the first 2 rounds of this fight are going to be very boring. The first 2 to 3 rounds are going to be very, very boring. And I think they'll be boring because Holly Holm, who's a counter striker, will sit back. Shevchenko can be a counter striker, and I think she's going to sit back as well. And I'd see these 2 girls just put a pattern at each other, but I think Holly Holm has that bit more experience that she'll edge every round. First 2 to 3 rounds, 10-9 on my scorecard, right? And then Shevchenko will realise a corner seems to be a good corner. They'll tell her, you're down so many rounds. You need to come back. You need to finish the fight. You need to do this. You need to do that. And then that's where Holly Holm shines. Yeah, I see Holly Holm winning this fight by unanimous decision, 50-45. I definitely think, as I said, them first 3 rounds are going to be very boring. And then, well, not even boring, just very tactical, but for some people they call it boring. Yeah. First 2 to 3 rounds, yeah, exactly, very conservative. But I think Holly Holm edges them. And then as Shevchenko realises she's down round, she's going to push forward. And as she pushes forward, that's where Holly Holm's counter fighting, counter boxing and kicking, whatever we want to call it, comes into play. Yeah. And I see Holly Holm winning this fight by decision. Could be completely wrong. Yeah. Been wrong in the past. Yeah. Obviously. Shit happens in mixed martial arts, but you know, you look at the information you're given, and that's my breakdown of the information that's there. That's how I see this going.
Basically exactly the same. I think they're 2 similar enough fighters in a way, 2 strikers, but there's a distinct difference in the way they strike. With Holly Holm, you have a girl who is very similar to Valentina, she's conservative in a way. She's very defensive. She can be very defensive. She has great offense, but she will be very defensive, but she'll move a lot more. Valentina is a Muay Thai striker, and she really shows that. We talk about when Keane Cowley was on, saying that Keane doesn't really fight like a Muay Thai fighter, he'll move. Yeah. Where a lot of Muay Thai fighters will stand in front of each other and just strike. Yeah. And that's similar to what Valentina will do. She'll stand in front of you and she'll try counter you, which is effective against some girls, but I don't think it will be effective against Holly Holm because Holly can get in and out. She has beautiful kicks to the body, front kicks to the body. She just the kicks to the knee, those oblique kicks, leg kicks, high kicks. She has a nice jab. She has nice combinations with her hands, and she's just really good at getting in and out. And I think that's going to be a problem for Shevchenko. But I do think it'd be, as you said, I don't think it'd be that exciting, especially the first couple of rounds. I think they'll try to feed each other out, and I think Holly Holm will just have too much on the feet in terms of being able to kind of get into the striking range where she wants to be, and then get out where Valentina will be kind of trying to get that counter game going, but I don't think it'll work against the likes of Holly Holm. So I'm going to go with you the same, and I will say as well that it'll be a decision. Yeah. But I think it'll be a dominant enough decision in the end. I can't see Shevchenko taking a round. Yeah. If she does, she might take one, but even the reach, Holly Holm, 69-inch reach, and 67-inch reach for Shevchenko.
I think if Shevchenko takes a round, it'll be the 3rd or 4th round. It'll be that round where she decides to kick it into overdrive. Yeah. That'll be the round she wins. And then I think Holly will adjust. Yeah. You know, because Holly will come out, feeling her out for the first 2 or 3 rounds. And she'll be like, all right, this is how she fights. Then she'll come out. Shevchenko, that is.
Yeah.
And as I say, kicking into overdrive, and then you have to adjust again. So I think maybe if Holly does lose a round, it'll be in that adjustment period in, as I said, the third or fourth round.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I'm fairly confident of a 50-45 in this fight. As confident as you can be with mixed martial arts. Shevchenko's no joke. She's a good fighter, of course. She can win this fight. Holly Holm has been knocked out in the past in her boxing career. If Shevchenko lands, she could potentially knock her out. You hear her right. We haven't, at the very least, I haven't seen that from her. I haven't seen all that fights, so that's ignorance on my part.
She's more of a, as Noel would say, an accumulation of damage.
So she's similar to Holly. She's very similar.
Quite similar. Yeah, they're similar in ways.
Yeah, so that's that's a bit of ignorance on my part, but. Yeah, that's how I see that fight going. It'd be an interesting fight.
Yeah, especially Holly Holm coming back from a big loss of title. See how she looks.
Exactly, and then after that we go right. Penna or Holm, who gets that title shot?
I think it depends on how good Holm looks. If Holm looks amazing, you never know.
Yeah,
but I honestly just can't see her looking that amazing in the fight. I just can't.
Even
I can see her looking very good
for
what we'd look for,
but.
I don't think it's going to be a finish. So, sometimes they look past that when it's not a big finish.
It obviously depends, like I always say it, but GSP with his decisions, people say, GSP was boring. Yeah. If you look at the way he won the majority of his decisions, they were landslide decisions. Yeah. And if Holly can do that, that's impressive in and of its own.
100%, yeah.
So there's greatness in that as well,
Grant. So that's the end of the show from my lovely home.
Yeah, it's a nice gaff.
Yes, not bad.
Your mother should be proud.
Yeah, I hope he didn't stay in it.
Yeah, I didn't.
But check out the Facebook page. Check out the Twitter page. So Facebook, obviously, Fight Talk. Twitter, Talk_Fight. Instagram, obviously, Fight Talk. YouTube, which you might be watching this on YouTube. Subscribe, because we have loads of stuff that we want to do on the YouTube page. We just haven't got around to doing it yet, but we have some good ideas.
We're going to make a porn video that's YouTube friendly.
So it's not porn at all.
Yeah.
But you like it.
We're going to do shadow puppets.
Yeah.
Probably not. But still. Yeah. So on to, the associations and sponsors. We want to say thank you to MMA Mix for... They basically help us get the show out there,
they share it every week.
They help us a lot. So thank you to MMA Mix. Check them out for their content. They cover UFC, Bellator, a lot of the European shows as well. They're very
a lot of Irish MMA.
Yeah, a lot of Irish MMA. They're a good website. They're Irish lads. You should support your own and all that. So yeah, nice lads over there. And then of course we're not there tonight, but our second home. Whiskey Fair out in Dunleary. If you want one of the best points in Dublin and a beautiful view of Dunleary Harbour, you can't beat Whiskey Fair. Absolutely beautiful. Great area. Great place to go for a pint. Staff are lovely. Food is beautiful. Check out Whiskey Fair. Really, really nice.
We'll hopefully be there next week. Out of the house.
Yeah, out of the gaff.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Peace out.